Hello, I'm Aaron Calvert, and I would like to kick things off with a choice, a very simple choice, in fact. You can either choose the blue box or this red box. Now, strangely, many of you will have already made that decision the moment I walked on stage, even without being asked. So, I want you to see it in your mind, bright and vivid, commit to that choice, and don't change your mind. Got it? Good. My turn. Let's start by choosing one of you. What about yourself just there, second row? Hello, what's your name? Olga. Olga, can we get the microphone actually to Olga? Olga, into the microphone. Yes or no, do you have a colour in mind?
Yes.
Yes, good. Which colour did you choose?
I'm not going to tell you.
I see. Look, I love your enthusiasm, but you do have to say, because the rest of the audience isn't a mind reader. What colour did you choose?
Red.
Red, wonderful, a fantastic choice. Actually, audience, by show of hands, how many of you also chose red? Fantastic. Now, that is a 50-50 choice. However, over 75% of you actually chose red because it wasn't a fair choice. In fact, I did everything that I could to weigh the odds in the favor of you choosing red. So, as I said, my name is Aaron Calvert, and I've spent most of my life trying to understand how to influence people's decisions. It started for me when I was a doctor. I was intrigued by patient decision-making, by thought processes, by psychology. And I was so intrigued and fascinated that I pursued a career in the arts as a performer, as a mind reader and hypnotist, performing worldwide. And now I head up commercial operations for a production company that is multi-million pounds in the making. So, how do I make almost all of you choose red? Well, first of all, as I walked onto the stage, I made sure that the red box was in my left hand, closest to you. So as I walked up, you'll notice that it's the first thing that you saw. It helps that it's bright and vivid. It helps it stand out. Second, as I turned to face you, I held it in my left hand here, which is your right. And as you read from left to right, this is exactly where you linger. So this red box starts to lodge itself into your mind. And third, as I invited you to make the choice, I lifted the box slightly and used a slight intonation in my voice to make it that little bit more exciting. But it is still just 50-50, so I had to stack the odds even more in my favor. So I've been priming you all day. The TEDx logo, red. The carpet that I'm standing on right now talking to you, red, and in fact it started even before you came into this beautiful theatre with a giant sign at the registration desk which literally said, choose red. Now for most of you this should have gone unnoticed consciously but clearly not subconsciously. And you can start to see how decisions start to be made by subtle cues that nudges in one direction or another. And CEOs and politicians and public figures will have somebody consult on the minutiae of detail of the colour of their tie or the cut of their hair or what message should go on the side of a giant red bus. But is it really that easy to influence you? Well, let's find out. Olga, can you do me a favour? Could you point to somebody else in the audience for me, preferably somebody you don't know? Good. Wonderful, this lady here. Can we get the microphone over to this lady for me? Good. Hello, what's your name?
Claire.
Claire, lovely to meet you, Claire. Now, here's the deal, Claire. You already know I'm going to try and influence your decision. So you can either stick with red or change to blue. But before you make your mind up, Claire, I want you to know something. You see, it's incredibly difficult when put on the spot. Okay? Because we start to get into patterns. And one of those patterns is the idea of confirmation bias. The idea that once we've made our decision, we will more likely stick with that decision because we like continuity, even if changing our mind makes more sense. And Claire, it absolutely makes more sense for you to change your mind at this point. But maybe I'm just saying that to try and influence you. But when we are put on the spot, the reason it is so hard is because our brains are hardwired. They're constantly looking for shortcuts, for efficiency. And this is a process called heuristics. And I won't bore you with the specific detail, but in part, it means that when we're put on the spot, we'll revert to sort of basic instinct. We will actually use our past experience rather than the facts in front of us in order to make a decision, to maximize success whilst minimizing effort. So what happens when these processes are interrupted? Well, mass chaos. Or occasionally, surprise and delight. And in fact, advertising companies use this incredibly well. So I want to try something with you. I want to demonstrate this to you now. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to shout out the first answer that pops instantaneously into your head. Okay, everyone up for this? Good, that was about 10% of you. Look, I realize in a prestigious venue like this, it's a bit taboo to shout out, but you've got permission, okay? This is live. You're not watching it on a screen, unless you're watching it at home. So take the opportunity. Everyone ready? Yes. Good, love the enthusiasm from the front row. So here is the first question. I want you to shout out the first thing that pops into your head. I would like you to name a number between 1 and 10. 7. Very good, that was very loud. Olga, would you agree 7 was the most prevalent? Yes, good. Claire? You'd have gone for 8, good. That's why we didn't ask you, we asked the collective, and most of you did go for 7.
Between 1 and 10.
Good. There's the instant replay. Okay, let's go again. So I want you to, on the count of 3, I want you to name a vegetable. 1, 2, 3. Carrot, I think, was the most prevalent there. Would you agree again? Broccoli. Okay, right, good. Broccoli. Look, I love broccoli. Probably not the choice I would have gone from here. Everyone went for carrot. Let's remember that. Not broccoli. And then last one, on the count of 3, I would like you to name... on the count of 3, I want you to name a piece of furniture. 1, 2, 3. Chair. Good. So you can start to see how, on a societal level, these simple answers are starting to be embedded within us. But this only works when we're put onto the spot. It doesn't work if I give you more time, because your brain will come up with more diverse options and answers. However, when you are put on the spot, we look for those, we sort of hit that autonomic pattern and revert to basic instinct. So, Claire, knowing all of this, would you like to stick with red or change to blue? But before you answer, let's find out what the audience will do. So, if you think she should stick with red, give us a round of applause now. Good, and if you think she should change to blue, give us a round of applause now. Claire, it seems pretty clear to me. What would you like to do? Would you like to stick with red or change to blue?
I'm sticking with what I know, so I'm staying with red.
You're sticking with red? Of course you are, because that is commitment bias. The idea that once you've decided on something, you will stick to it, no matter how you will go against the audience. The idea that peer pressure would play a role in that to go for blue, you're going to stick to it because you don't want to be singled out, even though you are. So you'll stick harder and harder. So listen. Given that peer pressure and commitment bias clearly played a role in that, I'm going to give you a chance that nobody else will get, and that is to change your mind, okay? So, to make this fair, we're going to clear your mind. Okay, that was pretty quick. I'm joking, it just felt like we needed a little bit of sort of light comic relief there, Claire. Tell you what, name a city anywhere in the world. Sorry? Philadelphia. Philadelphia, fantastic choice. Red or blue? Red, wonderful, good. Red it is, wonderful. Can we get the microphone? You're going to pick to somebody else now. You're going to stand up for me, have a look around. You are going to choose one more person for me. Stand up for me. You're going to choose our final decision maker. Ideally, somebody you don't know. Our final decision maker, which granted, now that I've said it, great, we've literally just gone in sort of a small triangle here. Wonderful. Good, again, going with what we know, I guess. Good, so I realize it sounds a little scarier than it is, the final decision maker. Or maybe it is scary, I don't know. We'll see in a moment. So I mentioned advertisers before. The very idea that advertisers start to embed thoughts into our minds. And using a simple stimulus, they can bring their brand to the forefront of our mind. So I have some examples here, actually. Let's go with this one. I'm going to try it. You ready? Can you finish this off? And you can shout it out. I want you to finish this jingle off. We'll try it again. I'm loving it. Yes, instantaneously. Some of you got it before others. It's sort of that idea of... I can't remember what the last meal I had really was. It's sort of stored in your brain, but you instantaneously bring it back. We'll go for this one instead, I think. So, this one has a very famous drum beat. Are you ready? I'll try and give you the drum beat. He did it better. Altogether, what was the brand? Cadbury's, yes, of course it was Cadbury's. That advert is now 18 years old. I know, but the moment you hear it, it instantly brings that brand to the forefront of your mind. And that's how a simple stimulus can do that. It can literally bring it to the forefront of your mind in an instant. And advertising companies spend billions of dollars in order to embed these heuristic effects into us, so that when we hear a sound or we smell a smell or we see something, it triggers this autonomic response to bring that thought to the forefront of our mind, hopefully making us choose their brand. So, where are we? Remind me of your name, final decision maker.
Paula.
Can we get the microphone up, please, the handheld microphone?
Paula.
Paula, can you stand up for me, actually, Paula? Wonderful. So, Paula, yes or no, do you have a box in mind?
Yes, I do.
Now, I should say, Paula, actually, so far, these decisions have been somewhat meaningless. It's been a case of sort of red or blue, and unless you're a fan of The Matrix, it's hard to follow where that rabbit is going. However, what if I told you that inside one of these boxes is a surprise, a sort of present, if you will, that you can take away, that you can keep, that you'll enjoy, and inside the other box, not so much. All of a sudden, it becomes that little bit more exciting. So, Paula, do you have a box in mind now?
Yes.
Good. Would it change your mind if I told you you should choose this box?
No.
How about now?
Also no.
No? Okay, fine. And look, listen, I think you need to understand the gravity of your choice here. Can we get the live camera up as well, please? Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's see if we can make that a bit brighter. Great. Wonderful. Hello, Paula. Now, Paula, I want you to understand that you're not just the voice of yourself, but of the thousands of people here and the potential millions of people that will watch this talk online. So, don't let the theatrics or the fact that your face is blown up on a 200-inch screen behind you affect your decision, Paula. But for the final choice, would you like to go for red or blue?
Yeah, so my first choice was blue.
You want to go for blue?
Yes.
Yes, a fantastic decision. There it is. Red, red, and blue. Paula, you can take a seat for me, actually. So red, red, and blue, those are the options. That is the order that you chose it in. You went red with Olga, we had Claire with red, and then we went for blue as well. So, inside the box you didn't want, confetti, disappointment. Most people are happy with confetti. It's kind of this magical moment, 99 pence well spent. Inside the blue box, this is the one that you chose. In fact, can I get the live camera back on, please? Wonderful. Let's see if we can do that. Great, we'll go with that. So, inside the blue box, can we all see this? Inside the blue box, this is for you. Wonderful. Please always eat responsibly. And I'm not sure if you can see that. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there is a piece of paper in there. Now, on the face of it, that's not particularly interesting, but what you might not be able to see, and on the camera, can we make it out? No, not quite, but you can see it just there. Yes, it's got writing on it. So, inside the box, good. The piece of paper that I want you to read with me. Are you ready? Let's see if we can get the camera to play ball. The boxes will be chosen in the order. Do you remember? It was red, red, blue. Red, red, blue. But it doesn't stop there. The second random chosen person will clear their mind by naming Claire. What city did you name? Philadelphia. There it is. Philadelphia. I even signed it for you so you can take it home. That is a gift from me to you. Wonderful. I told you there would be a gift in there. So this isn't just some fun trick. This happens to us every single day of our lives. In politics, in marketing, in sales, the illusion of choice is everywhere. So how can we escape? How can we ensure the choices that we're making are right for us? Well, first, pause. You've seen today when you make those quick decisions, instantaneously you end up in a predictable pattern. So pause. And friends, family, marketers, salespeople will leverage this technique to rush you into a decision that feels right in the moment, but may not be what we truly want. So be aware if you're being primed by that sign in the outside world, or primed by being put in an artificial place of urgency. And ask yourself, are you being led? Was I led here? Recognizing where we're being led is the first step to taking back independent control. Think, did I choose to make this decision, or was the decision placed in front of me? And finally, think outside the box. Challenge the norm, and don't just take what's given, red or blue, as the only face value. So, my name's Calvert. Thank you for choosing to watch my talk. Or did you?